Hi everyone, today I'm going to be doing another picture from this shelf page from World of Flowers. I'm just going to zoom in. I have done the background on this one already. Now that's because it's quite a big area. We've done backgrounds on these before, so I didn't think I would be showing you anything new. I'll just tell you what I used though. I used the Prussian Blue. I'm still using the Castle Arts. Sorry, let's turn that around. Here we are. This is the lovely 72 set, which I was very kindly gifted. So we've got quite a nice range of colours in this one to have a go at. And we've got lots of greens in this picture, lots of leaves. And I thought it would be a nice chance to try out all the different greens in the set. I'm not going to mix them up necessarily. I thought I'd just try them all out as they are so that we can just see what they look like. And we've got quite a lot of really small areas which we can't really do a lot of shading in anyway, so I thought it would be fun to just try out the greens. So I'm going to start with the Terra Verde green, which is this sort of grey green tone, and actually I'm going to start here. This plant here reminds me of a plant that I have seen which has this sort of grey green colour leaf. Now you see, as I'm colouring, see here it reveals that I've missed some of this background where I haven't got right close to the colour. This is part of an argument for doing a background last. Then you can make sure you fill in all those white gaps. But and you do need to think about it first though, because if I decided if I left this till last and I'd used every colour, I would find it difficult to choose what colour to do the background. Now I know it's a darkish blue, I will make sure that I don't use a darkish blue colour for anything else on the page, and then it won't sort of disappear into the background. So I've got a cadmium green next, which is this sort of pretty tone. Just going to sharpen it, except I put it in the wrong hole in my sharpener, the one where there's no blade. Great work. So I'm going to do all of these little leaves in this cadmium green colour. I think this is a really pretty green. It's to me it's a slightly olivey green, and that's my favourite tone. Yellowy greens are my favourite tone of green, so that's why I like it particularly. But and we've got another one here, the Oxide of Chrome, which is also a, sorry that was miles out of focus, it's focusing on the book more than anything else, which is another sort of green of this tone. So I'm not going to do it right next door to that one. Oops, I'm just going to move us across a bit, and I might do it on this one because this plant is quite similar to that one. It's got these sort of spiky leaves, so we'll do it on this one here. I just don't want the same tones of green right next to each other. You don't want it to look like you're running through the box, which we are doing, but make it look a little bit more random, a bit more spread out. So again, I'm not doing anything special. I am just literally filling in the leaf with the colour, dead easy. As there's not a lot of space for us, I will do something a bit more exciting on the pots, I hope. Leaf Green Light is my next one. I'm going to move back along, I think, a little bit. We don't need to go too far along. I'm going to do this one here. Now these petals, leaves, I mean, are a little bigger. You could probably put a little bit darker colour at the bottom here if you wanted, but because I'm keeping most of all the rest plain, it's going to look a little bit odd if this one is different. So I'm just going to keep it as is. It makes it easy for me as well. Right, our next colour is the Leaf Green Middle. I'm not going to go next door or up, although our next door one, it hasn't got leaves that can be coloured. I'm not going to do this bit, I'm going to go across to here. And we've got two types of leaves, but it's all coming from the same plant. Don't forget the stalk of this one, or stem. I don't know which is the correct term, or whether it doesn't matter, whether they mean different things. No idea. I think a stalk is more like you get on a cherry or something. Maybe a stem is for a flower. Don't know. Someone might tell me in the comments. Who knows? You lot are clever lot. You usually know these things. So here we go, colouring this. Now this colour of green might help me to choose the colour of the flower as well, because I want it to sort of match together. In my mind, I always think as sort of a more bluey green goes better with purple flowers. And where should we go next? That colour is quite similar. We've got a Castle Green Light next. So yeah, bluey greens I think go nice with purple and pinks, and maybe even blues. And I find more mid-green, leaf green, goes better with oranges, yellows. And the olive greens, they go well with oranges as well. So find this sort of tone, which I would call a mid-green, normal green type shade, probably goes with red quite well, but I think it goes with most colours. But I think some of the more, the bluey greens are a little bit, and don't grow quite so well like an orange. If you're a bit stuck, just look at nature. Nature is our friend. Now I'm going to move on to the Castle Green. Sorry, that's out of shot. And I'm going to do this one here. So my camera is focused precisely. I can't leave that down. Come on. Okay. To focus on the page when it's flat and nothing else. So it can go out of focus a little bit. So I'm sorry about that. I am still learning and playing with this camera. I am enjoying it. Not the playing and learning. It's technology. I'm not a big fan. See, this is quite a bluey green. It looks nice and different to the other one. But I'm enjoying the process of getting better videos, which is good. But it's taking me quite on a learning curve, as they say. I mean, it probably does me good to learn new things, but I'd rather learn more new colouring techniques than how to use a camera. There we go. But this camera I can do live with as well, which I couldn't on my old one. So that's something new for me to think about. I'm a bit frightened by the whole prospect of doing live at the minute. We're going to go for Castle Green Deep, and we're going to do the cacti with this one. So I think they would be dark. Look at that, it's a nice colour, isn't it? Yeah, one day I might be brave and have a little go. The first time, I won't warn you, I'll just jump onto YouTube and see what happens, because I'd be really scared if I knew a lot of people were watching. But we'll see what happens. I've just got to get really confident with using the camera first. This is Juniper Green, and I'm going to do the leaves on this pot. Now what I'm going to do is, when I do a pot normally, I do it darker on the outside and less in the middle. I'm going to do that with the leaves as well, so that when I do the pot in that way, it doesn't look strange. So that's that. I can't decide whether to do these in colour like their flowers or like their leaves. We've got quite a few more greens left that we haven't done actually, which is quite fun. We haven't gone through all the greens, we've got a lovely selection, but I think we'll leave it and move on to pots and flowers and things. So this plant is tied up here. I'm just going to grab my Prussian Blue actually and just touch up these white bits, which I can see. There we go. A little bit. There we go. So there's a bit of string here, and I'm going to do that in a nice bright colour. A red, I think. I would probably use red. So we've got just the Scarlet Red. So we'll try that. Put it here. And that goes, again, there's no shading or anything special with that. But we need to do these little tiny circles. Now I think they're a sort of gold colour. So I'm going to grab what I think is quite close to a gold. This is Terracotta Light. Quite a gold colour. and just do the whole thing. We can't do a sort of fancy shaded gold with white and all sorts because it's just too tiny. So we'll just do that and we won't worry about it. And because we've done red here, that needs to match this flower. So I'm having a think about what colour, and I think I might do it orange because red and orange work well. Although, and I think it'd just be nice. So I've grabbed the orange lake. I'm going to shade this because I want the flowers to stand out a little bit. So I'm going to put some darker orange at there and then fade it down towards the tip. I'm going to do the same here. So quite a lot of layers. You can see I'm going over and over in little teeny circles. Hopefully you can see. And then fade it down towards the tip. And the same here. It's just the same over and over. There we go. So we've got our orange flower. Now we've got our 3 ones here. I want them to be something a little bit different. So we've got our red and orange. I think I'm going to go for pink. Let's grab this pink from over here. This is the, what's it called? I can't read it, it's out of focus. Purple Light. So we'll do these again because they're small. Just going to go right over the whole thing. I'm not going to worry about any sort of shading like that. And we've got this last one to do in this pot. What should we pick? Something different, maybe a purple. Might be a bit too close to the blue background though. So we've got oranges and things. What about a yellow? Let's go for a nice bright yellow. What's this one called? Cadmium Yellow Light. So we'll go for that one on here. There we go. So now we've got all these pots and the sort of tray. Now I want all of these to match, and I'm thinking often flower pots are sort of terracotta-y colour. So that's what I'm going to go for on this, on each of these 4 pots. Now, although I think there is a terracotta, I'm going to use this cinnamon. It looks quite red though, doesn't it? I'm going to have a go anyway, because I'll just give it a sharpen. I think it'll be better somehow. So I'm going to start at the edge. I'm not going to press too hard. I don't want it too intense. And reduce the colour towards the middle. And hopefully that will make the pot look slightly more rounded, because obviously the pot isn't flat. On this side, flower pots are round, well, normally. I'm assuming that's what these are supposed to be like. You can see it's just a delicate colour because I don't want it to look really brown. Here we are. I'm going to go back and do a little bit more on some of them now I've looked in the camera. A little bit too white in the middle because terracotta hasn't got a high shine. It's not like it's some metal, so we can pull a little bit more colour towards the middle of those. There we go. Now the tray, I think because we've got mainly reds and oranges, maybe we'll go that direction with the tray. So I'm going to grab the red ochre. Get it, there we go, red ochre, and we've got it split into 2 halves, isn't it? So we'll start here and we'll make a nice dark amount of colour there, and then we'll fade it towards the middle, because this could be shiny. It could be a sort of coloured metallic tray, couldn't it? Just never know. We can make this up, can't we? I've always, when I first saw this page, I sort of thought, well, shelves in a cupboard. But now I'm thinking it can't be in a cupboard. We've got these plants growing here. They would want some light, wouldn't they? I know little about gardening, but I do know that. Okay, now the bottom of the tray, I think I'm just going to do in a sort of lighter orange colour. I've got a nice one here, which I'm just trying to get out of the slot. This is a cadmium orange. Is that better that way or that way? I think that's a bit better. Anyway, and I'm going to do the bottom of the tray. Oh, I'm going to do the handles too in this colour. I thought I would contrast it so the handles were the colour of the bottom part. Don't know why. I just felt that would be fun. Oh, there's another layer to this pot as well. And we need to reduce it towards the middle again, like we did for the top bit. There we are. And the bottom part, I think I'm going to go back to the red ochre to do that, so it sort of ties back in. So there's our red ochre. It's very hard to catch it on my light. It's quite dark in here. It's raining. My poor son messaged me from college. He's outside on a bench under it. It's got a shelter over it, so he's not getting soaked. But he wants to go and wander around a bit, but it's raining, so he doesn't want to. So he doesn't want to. I'm just typing him a message. He sent me a message. So I'm just replying to his message, which is really naughty of me in the middle of a video. But he needs me to just chat to him. So the next pot, I'm going to think about the colour. I'm looking at my colours and thinking about what, you know, I'm sort of thinking, let's move away from the reds and oranges. So let's go for purples and pinks, I think. Now that flower I'm going to do in a purple, but because we've got the blue there, we don't want it to be too dark, so I'm going to go for the lavender colour. It's a bit high up, isn't it? It's going to have to be slightly squiffed to show up. So these are quite small little circles. So again, I'm not going to do anything fancy. I'm just going to colour over them with the lavender. Now I've chosen this lavender rather than a darker purple because it will show up from the blue on the background. That's why I've said to you, you know, it's important to think about your background first, even if you don't do it first. Because you want to make sure that if the background is really close in colour, it will disappear. Sometimes that's okay. It depends what sort of effect you want to get. You can see why I've messed up the background a bit there, but hey, I'm not going to worry about it. And the pot, there's a really pretty colour which I'm going to grab. Indian Red Light. It looks quite pinky to me, so I'm going to have a go at that. I'm just going to sharpen it because I haven't sharpened it much yet, and have a go on the pot. I'm going to use the same technique on the pot as I did on the other one, so more layers on the outside and less towards the middle. Now in my Polychromos, the Indian Red, not sure if it's this sort of shade, but this one is rather pretty, I think. This is the thing, of course, you can't say, oh, I'll go for a cadmium yellow, because, or whatever, because in different sets they're slightly different colours. So you have to get to know your sets and the colours that you've got. Or, you know, you can always sort of scribble on a bit of paper or swatch them. I know swatching is probably the best thing to do. A lot of people will swatch their pencils so they know what they've got, what's what. I'm just telling my son what he's got next. He wanted to know what time to eat his lunch, bless him, because he's got tutor at lunchtime. So we've got our Cacti Pot, which we're going to do next. I'll move us along a little. There we go. It seems to go out of focus when I move. I don't know whether I should, if I zoomed out a teensy bit, it might just help it all stay in focus better. As I say, I'm still learning. I'm sorry, I'm getting there, but it's still steps for me, baby steps, because I am not very technical. I'm going to go for a pink this time. And I've got this pretty one. This is called Grenadine Light. I think that might be more in focus now. I've zoomed out, I'm not sure. And I'm not going to do this sort of detail bit. I shall do that in a minute, sorry. And I've got to decide on what colour to do it. So and we'll see what we think once this bit's done. I don't want to avoid using blue altogether, so I might find a light shade of blue. You can see I'm using the same technique as for the other pots. And my colour choice comes from thinking about what will match, what we used and haven't used, and what looks pretty. It's not really any science to it, as it were. So I found this lighter blue. This is Cerulean Blue Light. I'm going to go over the whole thing with their layer first. But I'm thinking, is this some sort of pretty ribbon or something? Maybe we want it darker here, as if it's sort of gathered in where this line is, and this bit sort of splays out a bit. And that might give that impression, might not. It's quite a small space to play around with, but anyway, makes it look a bit more interesting. And you can see how that blue is really different to the background, so it works. Right, our next pot, moving on. We have these little tiny flowery things. Let's have a think, what should we do with those? We've got quite a lot of different colours that we've used already. I think, yeah, let's go for this. This is the Vermillion, which is a really deep red. I need to sharpen it though, because those are very small little spaces that we're going to be filling in. So, oh, we've got some leaves. Well, maybe I'll just do it all red. This page doesn't want to sit down flat. So, always happens with books, doesn't it? So this morning, it was while this video won't go out for a while because I've been recording in advance, but this morning Johanna posted a very exciting looking picture from her new book. I'm just deciding on a pot colour while I'm talking, so bear with me being a bit vague while I'm thinking. And it showed lots of small victory pictures, as she likes to call them, which I think a lot of us, including myself, really enjoy. I'm going to do a yellow pot, I think. I'm going to go with this golden yellow, although it's quite a creamy look to it. That end looks really pale. Whoops, it looks almost white. This end is really bright. So you have to be a bit careful with some of the pencils and the colours on the, taking notice of the colours on the bottom. Anyway, and it was a picture, it was lots of sea type images, so there were fish and octopus and things like that, and they were all in little circles, and there were about 12, 15, I can't really remember, on one page. And she'd been colouring a few in and did a shot. I assume it's a sort of publicity shot for the new book. Now, firstly, I wondered if it meant that she was doing a new book with small victories in, because she had mentioned doing that, which would be really amazing. Although I do know that someone on Instagram called Agato Pop or something, I can't really say her name, and she does colouring sheets with small victories on Etsy in her shop, which I haven't bought yet because I've got so many colouring, just knocked over my pencil sharpener. I was getting too excited, colouring projects to do, but she's talking about releasing a book of small victories pictures, which would be amazing. I'm trying to think of the colours for the next pot. As you can see, there's a little orange streak down here from the golden yellow pencil. That has happened to me before with, I've got this same pencil in my botanical set and it's done that as well. Now, I'm not too worried about that because I'm not a perfectionist, but I know that some people might worry about that. It happens to me with my chartreuse in my Prismas, and also I think Purple Pot, and also I think I'm going to go for this purple. There's a colour in Caran d'Ache, Lavender Light. In Caran d'Ache Luminance, it's a yellowy colour, and it does that as well. So it happens in the best brands, so as well as the cheaper brands. I'm pretty sure one of my Arteza pencils does it as well, but I can't remember which one. But it's not because of the pencil specifically. Obviously it is to do with the way the pigments are probably not completely fully mixed. But it's interesting that the Caran d'Ache one is a yellow as well. So I wonder if there's something to do with, and the chartreuse in the Prismas is a greeny yellow, so I wonder if there's something to do with mixing with yellows that is quite difficult. Yeah, I like that colour, and I'm going to do a deeper purple, I think, on that design on the pot. What have we got here? Yeah, that's a nice one. I've got a Mulberry. We just fill in these little bits, and then underneath I will do a different shade. Yes, this one is a really pretty one. Purple Lake Deep. This one I'm going to do a bit lighter though, because if I do it too dark it might look too similar to the Mulberry, so I'm just going to keep it light. I haven't done any shading on it. Whoopsie, never mind. Now, flowers. So we're on the final hurdle actually, we've got the flowers to do. But I'm going to go back and do a bit of background in a minute as well. So flowers, I might do yellow middles and do them as if they're daisies. So let's grab a yellow. This one is the golden yellow deep. And we're just going to do them yellow. Now flower middles can be quite boring. I don't usually do them just boring like that, but sometimes it just really works if you just keep it plain and simple. Other times you need a bit more interest in there. This time I felt that was absolutely fine. This colour keeps catching my eye. I think it looks really pretty. It's the Venetian Red, so I'm just going to, oh no I can't, we've got red right there, mustn't do that. Let's use one of these pale pink tone. We've got a flesh here. It's just called Flesh. I'd use that. I think it looks pretty. It's not what I would call flesh tone, but yeah. There. So I'm going back to my Prussian Blue. I'm thinking about this background. It's not very even, so I'm just going to go. I bring my other arm in, hold the page down, I'll go back over it a little bit. So I'm just going to go over it a bit darker. Now you could do this, you could use a burnisher, you could use a blender, blending solution, things like that, blending stump. There are lots of options to get a smoother background. But when you've got a smaller space like this, then you've got a bit more time and patience perhaps to do a better job on the background. When you've got a big old background it can be quite daunting, and doing the small one like this can give you confidence to go on and tackle a bigger one. So that can be good, and also give you some techniques as well. Having a completely plain background isn't something I would necessarily do if I had a big space, because it can look a little dull. But if I have a huge space I would probably go for a soft pastel background rather than going for pencil. I have done pencil and it has worked and it is pretty, but it takes a lot of time, and I've got a lot of books at the minute. People have gifted me new pencils, new books. I'm very, very lucky, and there's a lot of colouring to be done, so finding time to do backgrounds is tricky. So I'm lucky actually, I haven't had any work for a few weeks, any of my freelance work, and so when that happens I take advantage, make you lots of videos. So I don't just record one or two a day, I tend to do batches. So like if I've got a particular brand of pencils out on my desk, I might do a batch of videos with that brand or on that page of the book or whatever, and then I mix it up a bit when I release them, so it keeps it a bit more interesting for you. It keeps you guessing as well. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know whether you'd rather me just do part 1, 2, 3, etc. of one thing and then move on to something else, but I don't record like that. Like this page has been a whip for ages, and I don't normally like having works in progress hanging around, uncompleted pages, but if it's for videoing, recording it, I can cope with it. My brain's like, that's okay, it's for recording. So I'm just shifting my seat so I can reach this bit. So yeah, my brain's like, that's okay, you can leave that one because it's recording. But if I record a bit on a page and I'm not going to finish the page in the recording, you know, sometimes I do a little bit to get you started, I can't leave that unfinished. I did one like that yesterday for you and I had to finish it, but then I took a photo so that you can see it finished. I think you want to see it finished. So I've got one page in Miniature Enchanted Forest where I've been doing some colouring for my blog, because on my blog I've got colouring tutorials which are photographs with words rather than a long video, and they're designed for people who perhaps don't like YouTube videos. I know some people don't, and that's absolutely fine. And so if people want a tutorial, they might come across my blog and be able to use that, or just, you know, something a bit different. And I've got a page in Enchanted Forest miniature where I've been doing a few which I haven't finished yet, but I didn't want to finish the page in case I wanted to do a few more mini tutorials. So they're cute little items on there. There was a magic bottle with a sort of potion bottle, and then mushrooms and leaves and key and different things like that, and I did a few bits and bobs from there. Right, I think that is finished. I am going to zoom out a little bit if I can. Try and get the whole thing in shot. There we are. So there is the finished article. Again, the background still isn't quite perfect. Probably add a little bit more colour into here. You know, you can fiddle as much as you like or as little as you like, or just leave it without a background if you're that way inclined. You know, it's up to you. You could just colour in these lines around it and leave the background. But anyway, I am done now. So I hope you enjoyed that one. I will put a list of the pencils I've used in the description, which I always do. I tend to just use the names, not the numbers, just because I think it's easier. Though once I sharpen them down beyond the names, I won't know them. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see what works. But thank you so much for watching. Happy colouring!